Hi, and welcome to today's webinar, Mastering Difficult Conversations. My name is Spencer McKinney, and the presenter today is Kelly Moertle, coach, trainer, advisor, and CEO of KCM Coaching. A few house rules that I want to go through. Feel free to submit your questions throughout the webinar using the questions panel, and we will reserve 10 to 15 minutes at the end to answer some of these questions. And then lastly, we are recording, and we will be sending out today's webinar and slides to your inbox. And with that said, I will go ahead and pass things over to Kelly. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Spencer. Welcome, everybody. As Spencer said, my name is Kelly Moertle. And before I jump into the substance of the webinar, I'm a big believer in having fun while we're learning together. So I thought I would start with a couple of trivia questions to get to know the audience a little bit and see how the audience does when it comes to trivia. So I've got two questions for the group, and Spencer is going to launch a poll for each of these. So the first question is, what is the most common letter in the English alphabet? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. We'll see how close you get to the right answer. All right, and I think are we showing the poll results? I can't actually see them, Spencer.
Yes, we are sharing them, and we have 26% that said A, 11% said T, and then the majority of people at 55% said E.
All right, well, very good for those who said the letter E, because that is the answer. Good job, audience. Let's see how we do in the next one. Which planet is the hottest in the solar system? So we'll launch a poll for this.
All right. Give everyone about 6 more seconds. All right, so we have 60% of the people think it's Mercury. We have 18% with Venus, 13% with Saturn, and 9% with Jupiter.
Okay, so it looked like we did better with question number 1. So the answer is Venus. So we learned a couple of things today that has absolutely nothing to do with mastering difficult conversations, but some fun trivia. So thank you for playing along with that. As I said, my name is Kelly Moertle. I am the CEO and founder of KCM Coaching. And to tell you a little bit about myself, I spent about 30 years in corporate, and 20 of those years was spent in sales and customer success roles for a number of different software technology companies. And in 2019, I left corporate and started my own company to work with cloud technology companies, to work with sales and customer success teams of cloud technology companies to build what I call the winning habits that are needed to actually affect moving the needle around the metrics that are most important, which is customer growth, retention, and advocacy. And in my time in corporate and in sales, I was an individual contributor carrying a sales bag. Did that for a number of years, and then I moved into a leadership position, and my most recent role was as a global vice president at SAP on they call it customer engagement, customer success side of the organization. And I noticed in my time there over the course of my career that I was often given accounts to work on that were the more challenging accounts, that were complex accounts, difficulties. And it came very naturally to me to work through difficult situations and difficult conversations with clients and get from a place of potential conflict to a place of connection so you can move the relationship forward. And as you can imagine, this is really important in the world of customer success, the world that you all live in. And I noticed that it wasn't something that everyone was comfortable with. Those that were comfortable with it seem to have less stress in their day-to-day lives. They seem to be more comfortable knowing how to navigate some of these situations, and so that stress and anxiety wasn't there. And the results tended to be better, right? Because you had higher renewal rates or less churn, right? More growth with those customers. And I wanted everyone to know how to kind of master this very challenging thing, which is difficult situations and difficult conversations. So when I left my corporate world, it was basically a labor of love to pull together a training program to help people in sales and customer success specifically learn how to navigate these situations. So you're coming from a place of confidence and in knowing how to navigate it from start to finish, and you're building that connection with your clients. And so today on this webinar, I'm going to be pulling a couple of the principles, if you will, from the training program that I deliver to share with you to help you, have some more tools in your toolbox when you're navigating these situations. And I thought it might be helpful to start with just a quick little story about a situation I found myself in. This was several years ago. I was brought in to take over a relationship with a client, and they had just signed a $1 million 3-year renewal. And this was when I was on the customer success side of the house. And I went in for a meet and greet, expecting that everything was going to be fine because they just signed this renewal and the previous team didn't tell me there was anything that was wrong. And I went in to introduce myself and meet them. We did our pleasantries, and then I sat through about an hour of getting pretty much blasted by this client because they were very, very frustrated with our organization. They felt that they weren't being cared for. They felt that we weren't being responsive to their needs. The product wasn't doing what it needed to. I mean, they were just furious. And I was basically told I'm not getting access to anyone else in the organization. I was meeting with the VP. I wasn't getting access to any of the C-suite or anyone else in the organization until we fixed the issues. And I decided I was just going to sit and listen. I wasn't going to respond because I didn't know what was going on, right? I just wanted to hear, like, what are the issues? What do we need to do to fix this? And I was really curious about whether or not they were interested in us fixing these issues. Because while they weren't coming out and saying, we're going to move off of your product, I felt that it was being implied. And so I actually took what I felt was a bold move at the time and said, what do we need to do to earn your trust back? And will you give us that opportunity? Or have you already decided, it's too late and we're going to move on? You're going to move on. Long story short, they came back and said, it's in our best interest to give you an opportunity to fix this. You've got 6 months to fix all of these issues, which were pretty significant. Otherwise, we're going to go out to bid and we're going to go likely to your competitor. So without getting into all the details, worked really hard on that account and went in and turned it around, and they're still a client and now they speak at user conferences. But the reason I share that story with you is because it was a very difficult situation, and I was applying the techniques, some of which I'm going to be going through today, to navigate that and to de-escalate a very emotional VP, very, very emotional, to get to a place where we can actually work together and move forward and find solutions. The funny thing is we didn't have everything fixed in 6 months, but the relationship was on the right track. And what you'll find is when you're building connection and you have relationships, there's a lot of forgiveness for a lot of other things, but you've got to navigate the people side of it in order to make that happen. So that's some of what we're going to be talking about today. I thought it would be helpful to share some stats here. Your role in customer success is so vital and so important to the growth of your organization. I have tremendous respect for the role that you play because it's a very big role. It's a complex role. It can be a very stressful role. And whenever there's something going wrong in an account, it probably ends up in your lap at some point. And so that can be really hard and really stressful. But it's so important to figure out how to navigate this, because mastering these challenging situations is what helps build the loyalty and the relationships with your clients. And those companies that are loyalty leaders see the benefits of that, right?